Welcome to What's Going On. I'm Robert L. Mentor Jr., your host.
And I'm Tanisha Baker, your co-host.
We'd like to welcome you, our viewing audience, to the award-winning show, What's Going On. And if you missed this show, you can go to the Beck Cultural Exchange Center, located at 1927 Dandridge Avenue, right here in Knoxville, Tennessee, and ask for the award-winning show, What's Going On.
And while you're at the Beck, we encourage you to check out some of the exhibits, and they have a lot of great things going on. They have a library, they have internet, that's Wi-Fi. You know what that is? Finally, y'all. It just took us about a year. I'm approaching my 1-year anniversary, and it took that long to get it straight. Wi-Fi and wiring are two different things.
I thought David Andrews had set it up, but anyway.
All right, but you are welcome to go and take advantage of free internet and the resources they have, and it's always changing.
Okay.
So you don't just go one time.
Right.
Right. It's the place where African American history and culture is preserved. So we encourage you to visit there and get a what? Membership.
Yeah,
membership. Membership card.
A laminated card.
You got to get it laminated, make it official.
Make it official. And then you get the legacy bill.
Right.
Yeah, you can have some of your relatives, kinfolk inscribed on it, and get placed in the Beck
Walk of Fame.
Walk of Fame.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, how much is the
$100?
How many you have?
One.
You got one brick?
One brick.
One bricks, and that goes to support the Beck and all the events. And speaking of events, if you have a membership, you can have a free meeting there once a month, and they have plenty of space if you want to have a reception or a party or a gathering. Yeah, so we want you to go there, and you can check out our show and everything else going on at the Beck.
Right. And don't forget, spring's in the air.
It is finally in there. And I don't know about spring. It was spring for a day or two. It might be jumping straight to summer.
Well, you haven't noticed anything?
Yeah.
That's the reason I'm wearing this flower. Spring
is in the air.
Yeah.
April showers bring
May
flowers.
All right.
Okay.
That's the reason I wore a flower.
I see. You should have told me.
Yeah.
So I could have worn a flower.
Next time I'll do that.
Okay. I'm going to wear a flower next time.
Yeah. And don't forget to get out and explore Knoxville. Pretty soon the farmers market is going to open up.
Farmers markets will be open.
I love them. Yes.
Including the new one we started last year, the Eastside Sunday Market.
Yeah,
That's going to be open starting in June. So we are trying to tackle and address the food desert that surrounds the 379-1514 community.
Yes.
Yeah. So we encourage you to come. It's the only farmers market on Sunday.
Yeah. And try that kudzu jelly.
Y'all try what y'all want to try. He's trying to school me and educate me on all of these farm products. And, I'm a city girl. But I have learned a lot, and I like exploring and tasting, and it's a good way to gather the community and fellowship, and we have fun, food. Those three things is a good combination.
Yeah. And you can go to Nourish
Knoxville.
And find out when these farmers markets start opening up. Yeah, and get that honey. For those of you who have allergies, the old mountain man told me take a spoonful of honey.
Local honey.
Made in the area that won't cure the allergies, but it'll keep it down, they tell me.
That's good.
And it goes good with tea.
Now, have you been downtown lately?
No, I haven't. Yeah, I was down. Yeah, I've been downtown.
You been down? You seen all the new things they have? All the shops and restaurants?
Yes.
Well, I encourage everybody, if you haven't been, take some time to tour and explore downtown Knoxville. I just saw a new ice cream shop opened up.
Oh, yeah. Soft ice cream.
So it's a lot going on.
Right. Got to talk about Talking with T. What you been doing with Talking with T?
You know what?
What?
I'm about to celebrate, let's see, we just celebrated 200 shows.
Okay.
So that means we're heading into our 4-year anniversary.
Good out here.
We've never repeated a show. We have a good time, and we like to say that we engage, educate, and empower the community, and we chatter about what matters on Talking with T.
Yes, Lord. And you come on, what you call that? You come on?
It's a podcast. But let me tell you, you can visit www.talkingwitht.com and find ways to tune in, but we're on Google Music, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, so it's several ways for you to listen and engage with the show.
All right, yeah, Talking with T. And got to talk about my producer,
Lieutenant?
Yeah, LT.
LT is what you call it.
In the bush. You had to say LT in the bush, man. You didn't call it LT. LT
Well, you did
burn.
school me, and I understand what in the bush means now.
Yeah.
You know, all of us weren't as familiar with the terminology, but I understand now what LT means.
Yeah, and want to thank the Botanical Garden. They sent us a little thank you card.
They did. Wasn't that
for
sweet?
being on the show. And thank you. Yeah, go by. They got. They're gonna have. You know, if you want to open up a little garden,
Right.
you can go by and plant some seeds.
You can do that. They have some educational programs there for children.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand they're going to have a little jazz, I think it's called Cat Blues,
Mm-hmm.
or Blues and Cats. Reggie
okay.
Jenkins is a part of sponsoring that. But I
Okay.
encourage you to check that out. It's right there in our community, and we should take it. You don't live far from it. You
And
can
walking distance.
walking distance.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we need to bring our guests on. You know, I started to say all the way from wherever, but I don't know. Well, I finally caught up with him. He was introduced to me by Jim Jennings at the MLK luncheon.
Very good.
And I was telling him I was a Vietnam veteran. He said, well, I told him I couldn't get to do the honor air thing. I couldn't drive that far. I'd be hollering oops. He said, well, don't worry about it.
We
Just
can get
call
you an
me.
Uber.
He said, call me. I'll get you there.
All right.
So
Okay.
I might take him up
Well,
on
I
that.
want you to do that. I want you to put that on your bucket list.
Bucket list. Okay. All right. Bucket list.
Yeah.
All right. Bucket list. We'd like to welcome to What's Going On, Eddie Mannis.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome,
It's great to be here.
Give our viewing audience a little snapshot.
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been on an award-winning show, so I'm a little intimidated here. And the chatter that matters, I got to remember that. I got to remember that. It's priceless. I got to remember that. So, I am a native Knoxvillian. I've lived in Knoxville all my life, I am proud to say.
All right.
Yeah, and so I lived in the North Knoxville community, a little community called Inskip.
Look out now.
Yeah, more specifically, Frog Level.
Yes.
And Inskip.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
yeah, I went to Inskip Elementary School in Gresham, and then graduated from Central in Fountain City.
Oh, okay.
So many years ago, I graduated from Central in Fountain City. So I am a North Knoxville boy, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
Very good.
And they won the championship this year.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Have a great coach. They have a great team. I have a great coach.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I was working my way through. I was trying to attend Mayoral College on nights and weekends, and I was working about 60 or 70 hours a week, and then I would take weekend classes and night classes.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked for sanitary, laundry, and cleaners doing pickup and delivery, and that's where I was working during the day. And so I was just sitting at my house and looking through the classifieds one Sunday afternoon, and it said used dry cleaning equipment for sale, and I'm like, that's interesting. Pick up the phone when we had phones, when we had home phones. I picked up the home phone and dialed the number, and there was a gentleman answered the phone. And a long story short, he and I worked out some, financing. I had a car that I sold at that point to make the down payment on the equipment. The equipment at that point was 30 years old. I mean, literally was 30 years old. This was in 1985.
Good gracious alive.
And so I had no idea what I was doing. I mean, none. But started Prestige in 1985. We started with 3 employees. One of those employees was my mother in 1985.
Okay.
And she quit about every other week. Every time she would get money, she would quit, drive around the block, And so after many times of that, I said, Mother, I would prefer to have you as a mother and not as an employee, because this is not working. So
I could imagine it being a little disruptive.
well, yeah, I mean, I couldn't say anything that she would be mad over it. And so I said, I'll tell you what, I'm going to pay you to stay at home. And that was probably in 1988.
Okay.
And I paid her to stay at home and stay out of my hair until the day she died 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And so that was that's the way we could have some sanity, and we had that mother and son relationship then instead of employer and employee. So, and then today, moving ahead to today, we have over 150 employees. We have 11 locations. We have 6 residential pickup and delivery routes. We also have a tuxedo company, Prestige Tuxedo. And so we're very blessed, and I've been very fortunate to have great people, to surround myself with great people and have a great team. And obviously I get to do a lot of things in the community, and the team at Prestige make it happen. So they're a hard-working team.
And also you started Honor Air. And
yeah, they allow me to do that. I started that program in 2007, and we originally started in 2007 to honor World War II veterans.
Right.
And we were specifically honoring World War II in 2007. And we, until about 2011, I think, we were still with World War II. We made the segue into serving, in addition to World War II, Korea in 2011. So, and then in 2014, I think, maybe it's a little bit later than that, we added Vietnam. So we continue to serve World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. And it's an all expense paid trip. The veterans travel. One day we leave Knoxville at 9 o'clock, 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning on a chartered flight. We travel with 130 to 135 veterans for the day. We fly to DC, we get on the ground. We have 4 motor coaches that we travel around DC with by police escort, which I've made a commitment in my mind, Robert, that you are going on the October flight. So you just get ready.
I mean, every year?
We do it twice a year,
Twice a
April
year.
and October.
Okay, October.
October, I'm going to make sure you're on the October flight. It's usually the first Wednesday in October, so you have plenty of time to plan, so don't be making excuses.
Yeah, okay.
We're going to put it on your calendar.
What's that?
We're going to put it on your calendar.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
you're
we're
going to
gonna-
go on the flight.
I'm going, yeah.
You are going,
You're going one way or the other.
Yes.
So. But we've done, since 2007, we have our 28th flight is coming up, and we have served over 3,600
Yes.
World War II, Korean, and Vietnam veterans. Our oldest veteran was 100 years old. We, the flight coming up our oldest veteran is 97. She is 97.
Wow.
And so we've had several females, but this is the first time we have had a 97-year-old from World War II.
Wow.
Not sure exactly what she did during World War II, but we're excited to have her with us. And I mean, this is kind of the award-winning show. We must also say on this flight coming up, Josh Dobbs is going to be traveling with us.
Oh, wow.
See?
Wow. Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, his
That's
agent
right.
reached out to me last year
Wow.
and said Josh really loves that program and he would like to participate. So he is going on this
that's really
28th
special.
flight.
So how do people sign up or?
We have a website,
Okay.
honorairknoxville.com, honorairknoxville.com, and you can
add that
go
to our
there.
social media.
Yes, and so you go there and just complete the application as a veteran. We ask a few questions for veterans, and we we ask a few medical questions because we travel with a full medical team. We almost have a flying hospital when we travel. We have doctor, flight paramedics, nurses, and so fortunately we've never had anything drastic happen. We've had a few medical issues, but the 28th flight, and we plan on. Robert's going to be on the 29th.
Now, do you eat? Do you take them? What do you tell me about that part?
Oh yeah, we eat. We eat.
Because I know that's see,
We
that's how they get it.
eat. We always say, we kind of joke, it is the carb load like no other carb load. I mean, you'll start off in the morning with breakfast, and then we'll basically just let you take your last bite, and then we have a snack, and then you'll have lunch, and then we get back on, well, we have another snack in the afternoon, then you get back on the plane, then we feed you again.
Have mercy.
So
You need a chaperone.
yeah.
You probably need me to go with you.
The way they feeding.
It'll be a day you will never forget.
All right.
And there are a lot of surprises throughout the day. There's some surprises when you get back to the airport that evening. So
I'll be there.
it'll be an experience you will. That's right. Tanisha will be there, so that'll be a surprise, and it'll be something you'll never forget.
Yeah. I've seen it on TV and when they took off, and then I've seen it on television when they land.
When they land, it looks
And
like
it
a
is-
very moving
And
experience.
it is very beautiful to have that many folks standing out there welcoming them.
We anticipate
those
now over 2,000 people come to the airport to welcome our flights back.
Yeah.
And so many of these men and women, especially with Vietnam,
Yeah.
but all of them say that they never had that welcome home.
No.
And so there's so much closure, and we hear it all the time that this is the welcome home we never received.
Right.
And now I can put closure to everything that I've been dealing with for way over 40 years.
Yeah.
So it's an experience, but it's also kind of a healing moment that we hear over and over. So
And skipping forward, you used to work for the city of Knoxville?
I was fortunate enough to be in 2011 through 2013. I was appointed by Mayoral Hero to be the deputy mayor and chief operating officer, the first ever chief operating officer the city had. So I was in that role for almost 2 years, and then left and went back to the private sector, and so spent a little more time in the private sector, and so here we are.
Yeah. And did you wake up 4:30 in the morning with
You
cold
know,
sweat?
you always wondering what people do at 4:30 in the morning.
Well, that's when the best dreams
That's
come.
when is that when the
That's-
inspiration
it hit,
comes?
you know.
That's when it hits.
That is the truth.
You
Cold
know what?
sweat.
It is the
I'ma set
truth.
my alarm.
Oh
I
no!
must
Wait,
be missing.
no. If you have to set your alarm, it doesn't happen.
No,
that way.
no.
Oh,
That's-
okay.
Wake up in a
that-
cold sweat and say, I
no.
need to run for mayor of Knoxville. That's what I was getting.
Obviously, that was one of those kind of subconscious kind of thoughts. You know, probably 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. But you know, seriously, I'd thought about running for mayor for several years, and actually had considered running before Mayor Harrell was elected.
Okay.
And I chose to wait and see if I had that passion, you know, 8 years later. And obviously I have the passion greater today. And the passion is really to help Knoxville be all it can be the
Right.
best version of itself. And that is simply my goal. It's, you know, people say, man, you kind of have it made. And I do have it made to some extent. I mean, you know, that's relatively speaking. But
Right.
I've worked for 34 years in the private sector and thinking I could relax a little bit now, and I went back and forth with that decision-making process. I could never get comfortable with saying just relax and don't do it.
Right.
And so I am moving forward. You know, we're in the heat of the campaign now.
Yes.
Early voting starts August the 7th, and we're going to do everything we can. My team is working hard, really hard, and I'm excited about what lies ahead for the future of Knoxville.
This passion come about by being in administration with the city. Did you see some things that
I think
that you wanted to get
that's-
involved with?
that's part of it, Robert. I mean, I think that I think part of it even happens before that, just as the love for this city. And you know, we have lots of opportunities here. People talk about Knoxville being such a great city, the quality of life, you know, but we can't stop. I mean, there's, and I tell my employees at Prestige all the time, you're either moving forward in business or you're moving backward. There's no neutral, because as soon as you start to coast, your competition takes you over, and then you have to work really hard to get back in that first place. And I feel the same thing about the city of Knoxville. I feel like that things are moving so quick now in the country with cities, and cities are being, moving forward, and technology is driving a lot of that. And so I think that we need to pick up the pace some and really look at where we can be, have a goal, have a vision, and really work hard and use visionary leadership to really get to that point.
So speaking of vision, then, do you have a particular vision or direction? Like, what's that thing that voters can hang their hats?
Is this a political?
Well,
that is a yeah. While you're at it,
Yes.
yeah. What's that thing again? What's the chatter?
Chatter about what matters.
That chatter. Yeah, that's why I was going to remember that. So yeah. I mean, I think that Knoxville has a lot of opportunities, but I think that economic development, bringing new companies into Knoxville is going to be important. I mean, we can't deny that. I mean, because the uncertainty with some of the companies that we have here now, some of the larger companies that we have here now, I don't think we can depend on just 1 or 2 or 3 companies. I think it's important that we go and sell Knoxville and say, and I'm not talking about companies like Volkswagen. I mean, I don't know that this, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I don't know that this city could sustain a company like Volkswagen, because where does the workforce come from? If we had 15,000 people that automatically got sucked out of this community to all work for Volkswagen, I'm not sure what we would do. I mean, that would be a real challenge. But I think there's great opportunity for us with companies that have 100 employees, 200 employees, 300 employees, and I think there's more stability there, and you're not putting all your eggs in one basket, so to speak. And so I think that's what we really actively need to do, and that will be one of my focuses. Job growth, obviously. We talk about good paying jobs. We talk about opportunities to move ahead. It's all about jobs. I mean, and I think when people have jobs, they have a purpose and they have hope. And I think that's what we really need to work hard at doing here in Knoxville. But I also think that we have a lot of opportunity with our own base of brilliant minds, entrepreneurs. I mean, I think that we need to really nurture our entrepreneurs here, support them, saying, how can we help you
Right.
be successful?
Amen.
And I think
Amen.
that is really important. And it's not how challenging can we make it for you, but what can we do to help you survive and be successful?
Right.
One of my favorite, I've mentored several business owners, and I mentored Delnice Moore, Always More Janitorial Service. Do you know Delnice?
Know her, how she got started.
Yeah, she was my
know
buddy,
her
and
very well.
I mentored her, and she was just a great example of what, I mean, we would talk, we were only supposed to meet like once every 3 months, and I think she and I met every week. It's just like,
Yeah,
because
amazing.
she was great at that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I am starting a mentorship with Jackie at Jackie's Dreams. She's,
right.
she's my buddy, and so we're going to work hard to try to get her to the next level, and I'm excited about that because she has a lot of energy and she's hard working, and so
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
excited about what that's going to
We're
bring.
gonna start us a business.
Yeah. That way.
Yeah.
What we gonna sell?
No telling.
Okay, we gonna figure it out. Then we have a mentor.
Yeah, I'm glad you talked about bringing the jobs here because brilliant minds, if you alluded to, you find our top tier students leave town,
Yeah.
Mhm.
don't come back, and I've been trying to say, what can we do to keep them here? Our top layer, no opportunities here. I know they like to party. Let's just be frank about it.
Well, they're
But
young.
now
I mean,
it's-
Social.
yeah,
Yeah.
they like to have that. So,
Social.
but Knoxville has turned the corner on that.
right.
Now we need to turn the corner on the jobs to keep them here.
I was speaking. That's a good point. I was speaking with a gentleman about the campaign early on when I started the process, and he was a supporter, and he said, "Eddie, I want you to make me one promise." And I learned something that day. I said yes before I learned what the promise was. And so it's like, always know what the promise is you're going to make before you say yes.
Note to self.
Yeah, note to self. And I said, okay, I'll do that. And so he said, I want you to promise me when you're elected mayor that you will go to your office every morning trying to find a way to make Knoxville the city that my kids will want to return to after they finish college.
Hey, amen.
And that kind of summarizes the whole, I mean, if that is your goal and that is your mission,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much better it gets than that.
That's pretty good.
Because that's a pretty lofty goal. But I said, John, his name was John. I said, John, I'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is my passion. I mean, when you really think about it, that is my passion. I have a niece and 7 nephews that are all in that age group of 8 to 15,
Mm-hmm.
and I want them to have opportunities in Knoxville. I want them to be able, if they choose to come back to Knoxville, that they come back here and have a job. What do they go to school for? They go to school to really to have a career and have jobs. And if we can't do our part and provide those jobs for them, we can't expect them to come back to Knoxville. And I think that's the goal that we have ahead of us.
Yeah. And do you have a motto, theme?
Well,
Tagline.
Tagline or whatever?
Chatter that matters is one of
what
those.
they call it now? They
chatter
got
that
so many
matters.
different-
Yeah, the tagline. Our tagline is growing Knoxville together.
Growing Knoxville together.
And that's
keep
important.
that in mind.
That's important. Growing Knoxville
Growing
together.
Knoxville together. Can't beat that with boxing gloves on.
Sounds good to me.
But now that you have got into the heat of campaign, and I know you're knocking on doors, what are the constituents saying to you out there in regards to you running for mayor?
It's kind of interesting. It's early in the campaign. It's really not early in the campaign, but it seems like every month is a campaign. I mean, campaigns all just run together now. Election cycles all run together. And so we were knocking on the door, I guess maybe in early March, and we would say, there's an election coming up, and they were like, did we just not get out of one? And we're
I
like,
already voted.
yeah, I already voted, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but for all practical purposes, yes, we did just get out of one, but we're ready for another now. So, like I said, early voting is August the 7th, and we're starting to see people. I think the warmer weather is kind of bringing that awareness out that there is an election cycle coming up. But jobs is one of them. Good paying jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Just jobs of all kinds is what we need in Knoxville. But obviously we really want to try to recruit the best and brightest. And I will say, just back to the bright minds we have here. You may not be aware of the Haslam School of Business, the Anderson School of Entrepreneurship.
Yes.
If you could see the list of Anderson School of Entrepreneurship and those kids, and I hate to refer to them as kids, but those younger people, the products they are already designing and developing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unfortunate. We need a place to nurture these minds and say, come here, stay here, design your product here. We will give you access to ORNL, we'll give you access to TVA, you'll have access to UT. I mean, so all of these things you'll have access to. You'll have access to investors if that's what you need.
Mm-hmm.
But stay here. This is where we can breed and grow your business. And I'm excited about that, because if I look at the products they're developing, it's amazing. But jobs are one of the things that we hear from the voter when we knock on their door. Obviously, safe and healthy communities.
Yes.
Safety has to be paramount.
Yeah.
I mean, we have, personally, I think we have a great police force. We have a great chief.
Yes.
Chief Thomas does an amazing job, and we're very fortunate to have a police department that we have.
Yeah.
But there are lots of challenges when you look at the challenges ahead from that standpoint with opioid. And I think probably opioid might be one of the greatest challenges that we have in my conversation with law enforcement.
Okay.
And we have to really make progress with that.
Mm.
And we also hear the challenges from a homelessness standpoint. We all know that the homeless challenge, we have to continue to focus on that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an easy fix. It's not an overnight fix. Affordable housing is another. We have to be deliberate about making sure we have affordable housing and workforce housing, and making sure we have the inventory that we need to accommodate the people. I mean, my employees are workforce housing and affordable housing, so I know the need for that, because so many times our employees come to us and say, I can't find a place to live.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we need to have an intentional focus on really working toward affordable housing. Lots of things are, in the pipeline, and I think that are really serious from the voters' perspective. So we have a full plate.
Yeah. Well, we want to congratulate you on putting your head in the ring and stepping in the fire and everything. We want to wish you well from
Thank you.
From us to you, and hope we'll have you on again as the race get heated up.
Heated up.
Yeah, when they start slinging some mud, that's what
it's real interesting then.
Oh yeah.
And I want to stay in touch. I work with a couple of youth groups and through some entrepreneurship initiatives.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very interested. My ears perked
That's
up
exciting.
to that.
That's
So,
exciting. I would love to have that. I would like to further that conversation with you.
Great.
Just very quickly, we're going to give you this opportunity to make that appeal to our viewing audience.
I think that what I can say is, I've wanted to be the mayor of the city for a long time, and I have a passion, and it is a heartfelt passion to make Knoxville a better city. And as I said, we're working hard on the campaign trail, but I can promise you that I will work even harder as your mayor. And so I hope that I have the opportunity to prove that, and I will do everything I can to help Knoxville move forward.
Yeah.
Very good.
And the tagline, working with
Growing Knoxville together.
Growing Knoxville together.
Chatter that matters.
That's right. That's right.
We still got a few minutes left. We want to just say thank you for taking time out from your busy schedule to come on What's Going On.
Pleasure to be here.
And I hope our viewing audience got a little snapshot of who you are, and let them make the decision on what they plan on doing. But
we do encourage everybody to vote.
Get out and vote. That's the main thing.
Exactly.
Get out and vote.
I'll say I'm a candidate. Regardless of who you're voting for, just get out and vote. I mean, it's so important, and I think that's going to make the difference, because you need to exercise that right to vote.
Yeah.
We live in a country where we have that freedom, and we need to take advantage of that freedom.
Yeah, and get out and vote. And if you haven't registered, you still got time.
Still have
time.
plenty
And
of
early
time.
voting, August 7th.
August 7th, early voting starts. I think the primary is August 27th, and the general is November the 6th or 7th. So. So we hope that everybody will turn out, and it'll be a great time of the year for voting, and hopefully they'll consider voting for me.
All right. All right. Thank you for coming on, and we look forward to having you on again.
It's been a pleasure to be here.
All right. We want to let you, our viewing audience, know that our show comes on every Wednesday at 10:30 p.m.
PM.
Do you have a thought for today?
I do have a thought for today. You know, in the month of April, we think about April bringing Mayflowers, April showers bringing Mayflowers. And so I have a theme, Make It Rain. And I just want to share that being broke from paying your bills is different from being broke from being lazy.